Okay, folks, Friday evening. Let's see if we can get some painting done. Home stretch on these damn Huns. I got 6 figures left to paint, and I'm not very motivated to paint them, unfortunately. All right. I actually tried to paint a little last night offline and was not very successful. I was just way too tired to do that. So let's see what we can get done. It's certainly, I've got a little bit less than an actual week to get them done. It's definitely feasible. I'm just not very motivated to do it. Maybe it's why you leave the elephant for last. I did the elephant. I'm like, I don't want to do anything else to him. The build up to the elephant is gone. All right, we need to do something about the fan in here because there we go. Ooh. Come on. We're going to do a really dark color horse on this one. I started painting in the color and it just totally did not turn out how I wanted it to. It just wasn't in the zone. So let's get that racist brown, German camouflage black. None of these are really dark, are they? Yeah, that one is. I better not do that one. Crapsicle. How about a mid-grade one like this? That can be a problem too. Probably. Let's just go with the original thought. How about we don't make any of it any darker than this? How about let's start like that? We're going to need some magic drippings. And the weekend couldn't get here soon enough. Now we got I guess 1 week till the con. I kind of miss just working on my stuff without a con looming. Like, you gotta get this done by this, gotta get this done by this. Half of me just wants to just like, F it, I'm not even gonna finish them. I don't want that kind of pressure. I mean, I feel like painting. I just feel like painting tanks, though. That's what I feel like painting. I definitely feel like being creative. I just don't feel like being creative with this. Well, we just got to paint 3 more guys, and the command guys will be, they're a little bit easier to get motivation to do something about them. We're going to paint some tonight, and of course the next 2 mornings. I said it shouldn't be a problem to get this stuff knocked out. I've done more in less time. It's just, I'd rather be doing something else. we'll see who shows up here and what kind of juices we can get flowing. That'll at least determine a lot of what we'll be able to get done tonight. Well, I had a viewer and they left. Oh. Okay, perfect. We got all that in one place. I don't know why this is happening all of a sudden. Every one of the brushes, I can't believe that it's the thinner that's reacting like this. But the paint gets stuck on the edges of the. Oh, maybe I'm just not being aggressive enough with it. Okay. Yeah, it's strange. Strange. We're gonna have to stick with this one. Let's add some of that buff color. Actually, we had some of this yellow. Let's add the yellow. I thought it was the same yellow. Maybe it wasn't. Doesn't really matter. It's close enough. Here we go. This is a forged in battle figure, as opposed to a gladiator one. These light horsemen have not that many different poses from the gladiator stuff, but we mix them in with all the other stuff. 2 viewers, welcome. Welcome. Come keep me company so we can get these things done. So we can work on something completely different. Well, not tonight, but I got a week to get these guys done, and then might take a little bit of a break from ancients and medievals. Little one. I I want to paint, but I want to paint like you got to get these done by a certain time. I'm like, I don't feel like working on them right now. It's not like I just want to sit around and play video games. I just don't want to work on this stuff. I want to work on some World War II stuff. And World War II stuff's been waiting 20 years. Not that I don't want to paint. Got actually nothing to do with that. Good evening, Nordic. I'm okay. I'm trying to get motivated. I'm not very motivated to finish these last 6 figures. I want to paint my World War II stuff. I got some cool stuff in this week. I've only begun to tinker with it, and I got to find the motivation to get these guys finished. I don't even want to finish just so I can play the army. Playing the army can wait. But I honestly don't like this whole, gotta get them done by this time. Why? As long as you're creating stuff, it doesn't really matter. Got motivated after my doctor's visit yesterday. I found out in the 3.5 months of walking, I've dropped 16 pounds, and today I upped my walk to 6 miles. There you go. Walking's good for you. You didn't have to go to the doctor's office just to get weighed, right? And you can weigh yourself at home. Motivational problems, my biggest hurdle in painting miniatures. Motivational problems are my biggest problem in reading rules. I'm okay painting. I'd rather be working on World War II stuff right now. I've gone through a ton of vehicles. I'm going to say 30. I'm going to throw a number out there, about 30, that were all started, with the exception of one, except for the Panzer I, which was not started. All the other ones were some form of, they were complete and just never painted, and transferred from box to box and got beat up. Or some I encountered some unsolvable problem and just left them by the wayside. And all but like one vehicle I've been able to salvage. And I haven't given up on the other one. It's just got to find some tracks for it. Let's get a little bit of white in here, and then we should be done with this color. No, you're at your allergist office. I have to go to another specialist for sinus issues. Wow. I bet if you looked up, a lot of people would have sinus issues and just don't go to the doctor. Supposedly that area, that's really bad around here. Pollen and stuff like that. Supposedly. It's home, so I can't tell any difference, but supposedly it's a bad place for that. I don't believe World War II is my favorite historical period. It's very hard not to want to paint, build World War II stuff. Well, I'm pretty motivated to not buy more stuff. Although, I got some doozies that... Can I get to that box? You're here, and I can get to that box. So let me show you the one building I completed. I think you'll get a kick out of this. And it's little. And I should be in this box. Oh, it's underneath that. Never mind, I didn't say that. We'll get it next week. I mean, week after next. Sorry for the tease. It's a little 15 millimeter building that I made to work for 20. It's too big for 15, honestly. I have a feeling I'll be doing some World War II stuff for a little while. When I get back from the convention. I got some cool stuff in the mail since I got pulled off. I'll talk about it. Got this stuff from a company called Value Gear. I'd get it, but man, I got enough of a mess here. And these are for the front of Shermans, and they make them specifically for the Plastic Soldier Company. They're little sandbags and stuff. It covers 4 Shermans. And hold on one second. All right. It happens when you live in a household when it's more than just you. So yeah, all 4 of these are different, and it's for 4 different vehicles. I actually cleaned one of them up because there's stuff on here that doesn't necessarily fit. See, this little round thing I thought actually was part of it, but it's actually a piece of flash. I wouldn't have known that. But it's a little armor to make them a little bit different. Got some logs, which I thought they just used to help them cross stuff, but I guess some of them actually use them as standoff armor. So I've got 2 Plastic Soldier Company M4s and 2 M4A3s from Corgi, and the Corgi ones will definitely have some logs on them, and the Plastic Soldier Company ones, which are made specifically to fit this. One of them has a mantlet issue, so I'm only going to do one of them initially until I figure out what I'm going to do with the mantlet. And I think I know what I'm going to do is because I'm going to get some Plastic Soldier Company other models of if you get the British one, the M4A2. It actually comes with the different mantlets. So as long as I make one a 76 millimeter gun one, I'll have an extra 75 millimeter gun mantlet, and I'll just use that one in the Plastic Soldier Company one. That's what I'm thinking anyways. So we got this stuff. Also from the same company, we got, they're calling this tarps and allied tank bits. There's all kinds of like tarps and jerry cans and different things you can put on there, and I don't know whether so much of that comes in there, but I got 2 containers of it, and I only bought one of them, so I got plenty of stuff here to deck up the back of my Shermans and make them all different. And I got like 5 Shermans, I think. and maybe more than that. The decals, which I did not have, from Pettinghaus in Germany. And it's got the yellow ones there as well. We're going to be using the white ones. Not that I'm opposed to building any torch vehicles, but we're not at that point yet. It was a pain to find these where they were affordable. So we've got 3 M3 half tracks and like 5 Shermans. So we've got lots of bits and stuff to do on that. And then I also got some paint from a new company I never used before, and I've heard about them. And it's MIG, another Spanish company. I guess all the paint comes from Spain. But anyways, the German set here because it's the Forever Quest on the correct Dunkelgelb color. And I saw this, and obviously those vehicles are painted beautifully. That's kind of what I want mine to look like, but maybe with a little bit more contrast so the details pop a little bit more. And the colors look good here, but when you pull out the bottles, they don't look the same. It just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem right. That's the 2 colors, this one, and look at this light. I mean, they might as well be white. So, and it does look accurate because it looks like it doesn't look very good. But and of course it comes with the red, brown, and the dark green, and then a lighter green as well. But my experiment is going to be, let's use them as they intend to be used. And if I don't like how they are, then I will mix my own based on this, because I like what they did here. So I've got some other colors that probably would work better for that. But it's an experiment. I only tinkered with it very, very little. See, I'm thinking that should be a color similar to this, but now it's coming and this isn't complete. But it's looking like this. And you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. It's gonna take some effort to get in there. Obviously, we still have to do weathering on top of it, but I just basically did the Dunkelgelb, and then we did a wash with the Agrax, and then we dry brushed Dunkelgelb on it again, and then the next color up, which is very, very light, but I think it might actually work. It might actually work, so we'll see how it turns out. It might actually work, but this just saves me from having to add the colors to it. Because see, I would have used a color like this as the base color, more orange, less green. But anyhow, we're gonna use these colors, and we're gonna give them a fair shake. And they're very, 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 very watery, very watery. And some people are like, oh, well, now you don't have to water them down. I'm like, yeah, but, do you want a thing of paint that's watered down, or do you want one that's thick? If it's thick, you water it down and you get more paint. If it's already watery, you get what you get, So I'd rather have the thick paint. But we're going to give it its fair shake. The cool thing about them is I got it from a place in Florida that supplies paint. They were at a good price or on a discount, and the shipping was only like $3.78 or something like that. And I got it in 2 days. So I'm definitely going to do more business with them. They stock all kinds of stuff. It's a place called Spray Gunner in Tampa, or outside of Tampa. So it even tells you that this was packed by Damaris. So anyhow, yeah. They got it out super quick, so I'm not giving up. I'm going to give it a fair shake. But I wanted to start on something that was already like a piece of shit, basically. I didn't want to take one of my good kits and find out I don't like how this colors work. So we've got this vehicle that's I've had about 30 years. It's part of the old Airfix set. It's been repainted several times, and I don't know. It might actually work, and I haven't done dusting on it or anything, so we're gonna give it a fair shot. Paint the seats and everything in there, and go from there. And then we'll try something else that's shitty looking like this, if we like how that looks. So we'll get there. Well, what I really want to do is my Shermans, because Shermans don't get much love. I have Middlestone. Yeah, Middlestone's the same yucky ass color. I don't think it's the right color. It's not the color I would pick. It's not the color I would have picked. My Panther's not painted in that. I would use green ochre. I would start with this and lighten it. But I'm gonna go. Look. I like how this turned out. So, and I know they used an airbrush. I'm not using an airbrush. If these paints will work, I'll be able to make them work. I got enough confidence in my own abilities, but it's weird, man. This is the base color. Look at the middle shade. It's really, really light. So I'm like, all right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dry brush, but I'm gonna go very, very light, because we don't want the whole thing looking like this. It's gonna look like a refrigerator from 1974. So, yeah, green ochre, or there's actually a German camouflage. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a fair shake. I don't really care for. They do come with a mixing ball in them, but so far I'm not impressed. But we will see. You know, we gotta. This is kind of a learning curve, okay? I don't have any problems with these Huns. I know how they're going to turn out. I know the basing on them is going to turn out well. But with something like this, you know, I needed to paint the wheels to kind of say, okay, well, the wheel it looks a lot better now with the wheels painted. Obviously, they're going to be weathered and stuff. So I need to like go, okay, let's paint the seat and the tarp around it and stuff like that. And by the way, this is one that was salvaged. There was multiple pieces. Both headlights were gone. The frame around the window, the front windshield was cracked and broken. So it's been mended. So more model necromancy, bringing them back to life. Use oil dot filters to weather the colors so it turns out to look differently in the regular Middlestone. Yeah, I'm not getting into oils. I've watched all those videos. I don't have the time. I need to paint them a little faster than I can. And I want them to look. There's some people out there that do beautiful models, but I don't think that they look right with the figures. They look too realistic. And it's not that I want unrealistic looking models. I just want them to look a little bit like this. You know? They look realistic, and they're also like game pieces. You know, I think those are superb. I'm sure those are 15 millimeter Flames of War. You know. So. I don't want to spend 20 hours on one vehicle. I'll never get these guys done, and I'll never get motivated to buy more. So these need to paint quicker than a figure. They do. So they're just vehicles, right? So the technique that I'm going to do is we're going to do a base color. We're going to do agrax. We're going to do dry brush that base color again, then lighten it. Now, the interesting thing that this did was it showed me that their suggested lightening next color up is significantly lighter. I would have done a color that's a lot closer, and maybe that's what you need to do. You need to give it a little bit more difference between the colors. But I got to remember that don't judge this until it's got the flat coat on it, because it changes a lot. But this tire looks a hell of a lot better now that it's been painted. I'd only started messing with this morning. Figured, well, I can't get anything useful done in the morning, so let's paint the Kubelwagen up. But anyhow, to be continued. But that's what I want to work on. So And they get around 35th scale G, bought figures that are tankers pointing at the sky. The markings, I use them for Fresh Panzer Brigade. They got destroyed in Domper in 1944. I don't know where that is. They got dumped from the air. Sounds like it would be in Russia, but maybe it isn't. Want to build a small diorama of the tank sitting in town as Allied bombers fly overhead and the crew is panicking, pointing at the sky. Yeah. Okay, let's continue with this guy. So anyway, good things ahead. But if I didn't have this darn convention to come to in a week, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be working on Shermans tonight. You'd seen France. Okay. Well, I watched a couple of this last couple days. I watched a couple of movies that aren't as good as the ones you recommended. One that I'd seen before and just didn't remember hardly anything about it, and that was Saints and Soldiers. It was free to watch. Why not? It was okay. It actually wasn't that bad. The worst part about it is, for most of the movie, they're running around with one Mauser with 4 rounds. 3 guys or 4 guys, I forget which one it is. And then I watched the Airborne Creed one. Saints and Soldiers, Airborne Creed. I started watching The Void. It is what it is, And in my search today, while I was having dinner before coming on here, there's a couple of movies I'd never seen that are on Amazon. And of course, now I forgot what they were. One of them is a damn Russian movie, which I'm very leery of because those guys are notorious liars. Oh, everything was just great in Russia until the Nazis came over. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. But we've salvaged about 30 vehicles. And that's not counting the 3 that I finished. Or the Russians, which I think I have 5 of, as a matter of fact. But just going through here. Revell Panzer IV-H. It was half done. The tracks weren't done. We kicked that thing's ass last weekend. Out of this world. An Eschi Panzer I. Is it ESCI or Eschi? I always called it Eschi. Maybe it's ESCI. If it's initials. The Panzer I, built that thing last weekend. Knocked it out of the park. 3/4 ton weapons carrier. No good. Not going to be able to move forward on it. I don't think so. And same thing, staff car kit for that. It's missing tons of pieces. I found stuff of it online. Welcome to the Soviet hater side. I don't hate the Russians, but I don't hate the Russians from the standpoint that I don't want them in a game. I think Germans versus Russians is where it's at for World War II. That's what it is. I just have Americans because I painted some for a scenario I was doing. And I'm pretty happy with how they look other than their basing. But I'm not we got to play Americans. Nah, I'm definitely a Russian front kind of stuff. The inspiration to all of us. Yes, but is it called ESCI or Eschi? I always called it Eschi. But then again, I don't call the Browning automatic rifle a bar. I call it a BAR, so maybe I should be calling it ESCI. The Eschi Panzer IV Frankentanken, that thing's done. Fujimi Panzer IV-J, it's done. Kubelwagen and his Stug parts, fixed both of them. Built the Fujimi Kubelwagen and the Stug, brought it up, even put the side skirts on it. Yeah, I didn't even stop side skirts from kicking my ass. The Panzer III-M, done. Eschi 251-1, that was all in pieces, fixed. Matchbox Hanamag. Didn't think I had the track. Now that I find the track, finished it, done. I don't have a front guard for the machine gun, but I can get that later. Airfix Churchill, no bueno. I don't find a track for it. I can't use it. MPC Pack 40s, built them both. BP Cast Panther, no barrel. Well, that's to be determined. I have a BP Cast Hago, cute little thing. There's nothing to be done on it other than painting it. Hasegawa type Panzer IV F1, done. The 4 F2, done. Opel Blitz trucks, fixed them both. The Fujimi 251, fixed it. So the only thing I got left is an Eschi Panzerjäger 1, which I think I found the other track. Need to fix it. And just paint the stuff. Honestly, everything else has been pretty easy. So, but anyhow, let me get the decals away from this wet drink that's going to perspire. You know? I just like the Soviets. I don't have a problem painting them for games or even playing them. I like the Ostfront. Me too. Me too. Which bad guy do you want to be? Yes, both of them. So I'm reading a book on Audible called Kiev 1941, and pretty soon, hopefully, we'll start talking about the battle because it's dancing all around us, talking about economics and stuff, which it's not boring, and it's not difficult to understand. It's just not what I wanted to read about, and it is obvious that this book has come out since the Soviet files have become available because it talks about stuff that I want to say we didn't learn in school, but that's not true because all my World War II stuff is self-read. You know, the stuff that we grew up believing. So, and that's fair. That's fair to, you know, have a misconception of something, but all the supply problems and all this other kind of stuff. So, we don't care about that shit. I don't want to play Advanced Third Reich. I want to, you know, unleash the panzers. Okay, so this guy, I saw a picture of a guy with yellow pants. Or a painting with a guy. He's, of course, bare-shirted. So we're going to be lazy and use that same yellow. But, you know, it talks about stuff that we've thought about before, and you know, one thing that was kind of interesting that it says in the book there is that if they just would have armed the Ukrainians, or they'd been more helpful, but the Ukrainians, but Hitler apparently thought that basically Russia could have been taken in 4 months, and I can see why he thinks that would have been possible because they knocked him out in World War I. I mean, it took longer than 4 months, but you know, they knocked out France, but you had all kinds of supply problems and stuff like that. And the whole thing is you know, they didn't want the Ukrainians to help them because they didn't, you know, you forget that they're like massive racists, you know. So it's like, you know, we don't want to arm those people because we're going to end up starving them out anyways because this land is for the German people, not for these, you know, subhumans. And I never thought about it that way because I don't really think of Slavs as subhuman. It would never have occurred to me to think that way. But it's kind of difficult to understand Hitler when you're not a racist. But it's interesting. It's just not what I thought it was going to be about. And I'm about 3 hours into it. But there's still plenty of book left. But hopefully I don't get into it so much. I want to get, what's that, War in the East 2? One of those video games that has all the counters and stuff. I played one of the first video games I ever played. It was called Second Front by Gary Grigsby. It might have been one of Gary Grigsby's first games. Made by SSI, I think is what it was. And it was EGA graphics, and I played the shit out of that game. but the computer was too easy. I mean, I could play either side. Though it was actually even easier as the Russians. You just you mass all your units in good places, have them survive for a while, and get experience while you get other stuff. And I remember playing as the Russians and holding the Germans. Obviously, they're gonna penetrate somewhere. And then I was like in freaking Warsaw in like early '42 or some shit like that. So, given the choice, I will always play Germans. But if not given the choice, I am fine either way. The Germans are fun to play. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And there's a couple reasons why they're fun to play, I think. First of all, they have really cool looking equipment. I mean, yes, they're horrible people. Okay, okay, we're not doing that stuff. But, you know, they have cool uniforms. They have the coolest tanks and the coolest uniforms. They do, you know. I mean, that's why. Why do you think that their stuff is so popular in like war games and stuff? And like, you'll have like some Japanese company like Hasegawa, and they make like 100 kits, and 70 of them are German stuff. You know, because their stuff is varied and, again, not one of those things that's probably useful to winning a war when you have to try to replace, you know, vehicles, and everyone's a different kind. You know, but for a war gamer or somebody who's going to build models, it doesn't get any better than that. So yeah, so Germans are real popular. I hope there's some details in the tank battles and stuff coming up here in the Kiev thing. 'Cause that's really why I got it for, you know. No, the regular rock soldier wasn't horrible. Well, the whole regime thing was. SS and the Waffen SS gave the rest of the Germans a bad name. I'm going to say the Germans in World War I weren't horrible. I think the Germans in World War I got a bad rap. But the World War II ones, I'm not going to go into whether or not they knew what was going on behind. It was just... It was just a bad deal. It was just a bad deal. So I remember when you're wargaming like Eastern Front stuff, and you're just thinking, "Well, I could have won because I would have befriended you Ukrainians." And that's all well and good, but you don't realize that the whole point of him going over there was basically to exterminate them. You're not thinking about that when you're playing a war game, you know? But I don't think that I think that the Russians are just as bad. But that's why the Germans are popular. I've actually never built SS anything. I don't see that, you know, I got no interest in building SS stuff. Now I got some SS troopers, and maybe now with having, you know, like SS camo black, and maybe with my improved paint skills, I might try some of their camouflage, but I don't have a particular. I mean, what theater were the SS in that Wehrmacht guys wouldn't have worked for it? I mean, why would I specifically build SS guys? You know, I don't know any particular thing that I would have to build certain stuff for them. P dot camo and palm tree and all that stuff. I go for aesthetics when it comes to model kits. I have to like the look of the subject or I won't want to build it. Yep. Yep. Yeah, what stuff looks like is important to me. So like there's some things, I don't care how effective they are, I just would never build them. Like I really dislike Hellcats. I don't care how effective they were, I think they're ugly. You know, to my eye, I think they're ugly. I think a P40 is a cool looking plane. I built P40s, you know. I like the Air Cobras. Just talking aircraft, you know. Yeah, the Hellcats are some of the ugliest planes ever built for World War II, in my opinion. In my opinion. So yeah, aesthetics are important. One reason why I like the early period of the war, especially the early British tanks. Oh, the British tanks are cool. Planes wise, I love the Spitfire, the ME-109. Everybody likes the Spitfire. And the 109. I love Stukas. I don't care how worthless they are in air-to-air combat. They just look wicked. They really look wicked. Yeah, I much prefer the look of the inline engine aircraft than the radial engine aircraft. Definitely. Stukas are awesome looking planes, but there's a lack of good 148 skill Stukas. Well, I've never built 148. I was always building 172nd. I never cared for 148th. It's not 135th and it's not 172nd. Just kind of an in-between scale. Now they got 148 scale models of tanks all over the place. Like, Tamiya makes all kinds of them now that they didn't before. In the early 90s. Back when I was doing that kind of stuff. What's one of your least favorite aircraft of World War II? Aesthetically. It's all aesthetic, you know? It's all aesthetic. Because as soon as I say, oh, you don't like the Hellcat, ooh, got the best kill ratio. I don't care. It's not pretty. Well, it wasn't built for pretty. Okay, but I'm building it because of pretty. Or wicked or something, you know? Not sure why I gravitated 148 for aircraft, but I did. Got the back to building. I have the ICM 148 Heinkel 111 to build in my stash of kits, which is down to 2 kits now. Oh, I got something to show you. I think I have it handy. And I talked about this. Hope I don't get in trouble because I got some stuff here that has the crooked spider on it. And you don't know what that is? Then you need to watch Sound of Music again. One of my favorite lines, a little girl they call him the crooked spider. But here's all my decals from 1/35th scale. I'm gonna put this away for a little while. Well, you got my juices going. So that's the most important thing, is to not to be bored while I'm doing this. So all these decals are basically useless, but I'm not going to throw them away. So when I was building German stuff, my favorite division was Grossdeutschland. Japanese Zero is probably the ugliest plane in my opinion. Aesthetics just suck on the plane. I don't love it, but I don't think it's the ugliest, but I think a Hellcat's uglier than a Zero. A Zero at least came with like different paint schemes. Hellcat is like all over one color blue, or like, you know, the same blue but glossy. Like, geez, you know. Not sure the name of it quite. First jet fighter, 262, ME 262. Yeah. Welcome, Pugwash. Okay, you've been warned. We're gonna have some crooked spider stuff here. Maybe I won't show those just to be, not to be upset. But this is a model of a plane that's really, really cool. And I believe it was 1/72nd. It might have actually been a 148 scale plane. Now I remember. It was a Dornier 17D, I think. It was the one that was used in the Spanish Civil War. And it's a sleek looking plane. It's a sleek looking plane. And here's the decals that it came with it. And these are the nationalist markings for the Spanish Civil War. And because it is a European kit, I forget who the hell made it at the time. This is like 1989, 1990. It gave you crooked spiders that you have to assemble yourself. So they're not being Nazis by giving you the decal. You're the Nazi putting them together. Well, I thought that was kind of a nice way to get around that. But I always built NPC stuff, so it came with swastikas because the plane has swastikas. Not that I like Nazis, they're assholes. They're actually worse than assholes. It's actually worse than that. Anyhow, I'm going to skip the crooked spider stuff. You guys know what that looks like. I actually had to buy a whole set that was just crooked spiders to put on individual planes because it didn't come with it. Okay. Here's the Verlinden decals, which were dry rub. Actually, I don't know where they were. That's what I wanted to show you, was the split swastika where you have to put. Oh, look, another kit that does it. And it doesn't matter if you fight for Finland or not. You still have to put them on yourself. That's the way of getting around that. No, we're not the Nazis. The guys buying our kits are. Yeah, whatever. You're not building this kit and bringing it to a white power rally. Sorry, not buying that. There's these Verlinden Russian tank slogans. They're in here somewhere. But what's cool is it gave you examples of some of them. One of these is great. Crush the fascist vipers. I like that. But this is all 1/35th scale stuff. I have a whole slew of them. I'm not going to get into them. But I did find something really cool that... one with the British vehicles. I was always fascinated by the Rhino. So I started looking into the Rhino, and the Rhino is the British 1st Armored Division. So I'm like, well, where those guys at? They were in Italy. And so when I was looking at the mantlet situation, the Germans get the #1 ranking from unit symbols. They're masters of propaganda. Brits are easily #2. Dry rub decal? Yeah. Yep. I believe they're dry rub. Look at this. I got all kinds of like cut out things for. I got all kinds of shit. Look at this. Got one that's just all the division stuff. 1991. German decal sheet. I just don't have any American stuff. I just never cared for American stuff. I'm already American. It's not very exciting. British Universal Carrier. I don't even remember having a British Universal Carrier. I guess I had it at one point. Yeah, I had to buy the swastika kit because some planes didn't come with any. I mean, you know. And rather than not be on the plane, but here it is. Verlinden. Russian tank slogans. Decal sheet, but they're not decals. They're actually dry rub. You actually like the British Guards Tank Division with the eye. Okay. Well, somebody has to. So I started reading about this. Flames of War has some great stuff. I'll never play Flames of War. Well, I played it. I'll never play it again, unless I have to. But they have great resources of things. And, you know, so they have like a whole article of like British tanks in Italy. So I'm like, when I was looking at the mantlet thing, I'm like, oh, I could use the M4A2. Comes with extra mantlets. But the U.S. didn't use M4A2s. The Marines did, and the Russians did. Well, I'm not building Russian Shermans. That's just stupid. Okay? I mean, I know they used them. It's just dumb. Okay? I'm not going to... Like, the Russians didn't produce enough of their own stuff, right? I'm not building Russian Shermans. But I would build British Shermans. So M4A2, you can actually... 3 of them come in the pack. And if I build one of them as a 76 millimeter armed one, I've got an extra mantlet, and I can throw that in the other Sherman. So maybe I'll go that. Maybe I'll go that route. But I'm like, all right, I got lots of Brits to do. Maybe I should do them in Italy. The problem is the German units in Italy aren't very interesting. They got like shit units and Hermann Goering Panzer divisions, nonsense. You know, Italy's not very exciting for the Germans. Put it that way. You know, they got divisions that there's no history behind. You know, you're not like, oh yeah, the 26th Panzer, the 24th Panzer. Like, who the hell are they? You know. Well, the 24th is a reconstituted one, but I'd like to build a Sherman Firefly sometime. Yep. Got one. I just got to weather it. It turned out okay. All right, back to these damn Huns. That was a nice distraction, wasn't it? I talked about that before where you had to put the swastikas together, so that's what it is. They basically turn you into a Nazi. Hey, I'll put red stars on my stuff. I'm not going to turn into a communist anytime soon, you know? You can do the Fallschirmjäger. I'm just not interested in the Fallschirmjägers. Not at all. I mean, the SS are more exciting than the Fallschirmjägers. I'm not... The Fallschirmjägers were in Normandy, too. So, and Market Garden. They just don't interest me. I can't be into everything. Jeez, I heard a guy once said that. I can't be into everything. Smart guy. I think he knew what he was talking about. I could be mistaken, but... Now, the cool thing about that is you could use that Panzer 3M that I can do for a lot longer period of time than you could in other places. They used a couple of them in Normandy, but only the second rate units. It's at a severe disadvantage against stuff like, a Sherman or something like that. The first tank kit built after getting back into model building was a 135th Churchill. Oh yeah, the 7. The Churchill 7. Did you build it as a the crocodile? Guards armored for market garden. Win a competition with it. I think I had it. I don't remember. I was looking through my eBay thing today. Not intentionally for it. I came across all the stuff that I sold, and I didn't have pictures of it, but all the models that I had sold that were unopened. Like I had a Hetzer, all 1/72nd scale. I had a Hetzer. I had a King Tiger. I had another 3/4 ton Dodge truck, apparently. I had a T-34. I had a KV-1 from Fujimi. I had like 10 models or whatever. I guess weren't open. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't sell the Panzer 1. I'm glad I built it. It was a Cromwell. I'm not a Cromwell liker. I don't like them. They ghosted you. Just teasing you with a job. All right, it's time to paint the fleshy bits on this dude. This guy's looking a little bit like a Gaul, as naked as this guy is. Bare-chested dude. Let's see, where is this color? Didn't return your inquiries? So the hell with them! The hell with them! I didn't want to work for them anyway. Where is the fleshy colors? If I do any game in Normandy, I'm going to go with a British drive on Con. Goodwood, Epsom, all that stuff. Sherman tanks running into barn doors. Ooh. Nasty. Nasty stuff. Those barn doors are just brutal. Especially you have to try to move one. I'm just saying that gun is just... It's like a flying Panzerfaust. You get hit by it, it's over. It's over. I'm pretty sure it can consistently go through the front armor of a Churchill 7. This is a deadly, 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 deadly round. I had a guy that I talked to recently. He said he's putting on a game at our convention that I wish I would have known he would have been put on. I would have signed up for it. There's a World War II game based around German tank ace Otto Carius. And was he the highest scoring tank? I don't know. He's one of the highest scoring aces. And he commanded a Tiger tank on the Eastern Front. I think he was on the Eastern Front the whole time. And on the front near Leningrad. And I read his memoirs a couple years ago, and they kind of suck. They're kind of boring, and it's hard to get excited about somebody that's like I mean, I understand everybody's kind of fighting for different reasons, but you're like, you can't root for this guy because you don't want him to win because the world would be a worse place. So, you're just kind of listening to it and like, okay. But, I'm looking at it for like, okay, what scenarios can I do? But all I can remember is corduroy roads, corduroy roads, corduroy roads, corduroy roads. And corduroy roads were roads that they would put in like swampy areas that they would lay logs perpendicular to the travel. So just imagine like driving on corduroy, right? You're just driving on a bunch of logs so your vehicle doesn't sink into the ground. And that's all I remember it. But he's running a scenario supposedly based on that. So I'll try to get some pictures of it if I don't play in it, which I'm already signed up to play something else during that time. But maybe I'll unsign myself up and try to get into that. I'll see. But they're not my favorite rule set, and they're not my favorite scales, so that's 2 strikes against them. But I did read Carius's memoirs, and there's got to be better memoirs out there. I think they're kind of lacking. Of course, the door won't be there afterwards, but that isn't my feel. The most appropriate way of knocking on a barn door is to roll up a pack 43 and let it knock on the door. Yeah. What's the one that was it was a pack 43, but it had the old base from like the old 88. The 88 that they used in North Africa. The famous 88, okay? When it said, oh, the 88 millimeter gun. It's not the barn door. It's the other one. It's the one that I associate with like Halfaya Pass, right? They had a couple of them out there, and they just created all kinds of problems. That one, the cruciform base. I want to say it's a pack 43-41. I don't like that one. I like the pack 40. I mean, I like this. I'm okay with that one. I don't like the mix of the 2 types. Either you get the barn door with like the 105 trunnion that it's on. I think that's what it's called. Or the cruciform one, but I want the big shield on it. It's World War II. We all know how much you love that period. Yeah, I do. But there's lots of stuff that have changed since I've been into it. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it's okay about learning new shit, but, I might as well do his face, too. Well, when I play the Eastern Front, it's like, which bad guy do you want to be? But you don't want the Germans to win, because the world would be a worse place. Not in the Second War, anyways. I'm not convinced that letting the Germans win the first one the world wouldn't be a better place, but who knows? Maybe it's better just to leave things as they are. Butterfly effect, you know? But definitely not the second one. That's bad news. Tried watching a few minutes of Man in the High Castle and just couldn't get into it. I'd started watching it before and I couldn't get into it before. The time period is the problem I have with it. If it was like 1949 or something like that, okay. But it's like 1962. It's like, decades after, it just seems too far removed. So I got a couple of World War II movies that I never heard about to watch. I don't remember what they are right now. Unfortunately, they came up on my Amazon thing. I'd never heard of them before. Debating a return to World War II, but not in 6 mil. I'm debating between 10 and 15. Also not sure what period I'd go with. It's actually a decent movie. Butterfly effect, that is. It was okay. I like that plot. I like that kind of a plot. I mean, I'm not a fan of time travel, but that's not really, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Kuchar, so I only saw it one time. It was, I remember worth watching once. Honestly, most things are worth watching once. Now, these people that watch things multiple times, I just. Have you nothing better to do? Have I seen Deja Vu with Denzel Washington? No, I have not. Should I? I may have only seen 2 movies with him in them, ever. Oh, somebody has arrived. Just a moment. Okay, we're back. Yes, I should give that movie a shot. You recommend it. Okay, excellent. I'm a big Denzel fan. He's my favorite modern actor. I think I've only seen him in 2 things. And it's not like I've avoided him. I'm just Manchurian Candidate and Glory. I don't remember him in Glory. I thought Manchurian Candidate was okay. Been trying to get some bits together from Chain of Command, but it's a slow process. Have you watched the videos online? Chain of Command it has some really unique stuff to it that has potential. You know what? Chain of Command, if I wanted a game that would move along pretty quick and would give up some detail, that's probably the game I would play. It sucks when it comes to infantry. It just kind of, it shoves them over to the side too much. I like a little bit more like, which guy specifically did you hit? Not like pick one, you know, you know. I've watched many of the Chain of Command battles that they have on YouTube. I don't like that little weasel guy. I hope that's not you. Well, if it is you, don't be such a cheater. He seems like a slippery cheater. Hey, just because you're a short dude doesn't mean you get to cheat, okay? That's no excuse. He played Trip and Glory, was one of the whip, and the one who died after Shaw, and the flag bearer went down. He grabbed the flag and was shot down. I only saw it one time, and it's ACW, and that right there is a good reason for me not to watch it. And I really don't like Broderick. He's just like, are you ever going to be like older than 16? Come on, dude. Grow up. He seems to be a pretty decent guy in real life. I don't think he's ever been involved in any controversy. That's pretty cool. And pretty rare for Hollyweird. So, seems to be a pretty decent human being. That's good. That counts for something. It does in my book. Denzel is your favorite modern actor. Ooh, I don't know if I have one. He's well liked. Most people have a good opinion of him. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say something bad about him. I have an absurd, vivid memory when it comes to movies. Have I seen anything on Zero Group? Nope. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. The other rule set I don't mind is Firefight Normandy Firefight, but it has no vehicles. It has zero chance of vehicles. Not even like a truck you could ambush. Like you have to come up with your own rules. So like that's no good. It's not complete. You know, it's missing stuff. And I'd say it's probably even harder to run things than face a battle. Zero Group is a battalion level World War II game. Oh, I'm not interested then. I actually like the scale of the game that is the one we used to play, the one you play, the Chadwick game. I like the 1-to-5 scale game. And Rapid Fire uses the same scale. I just think the infantry is just kind of like blah, you know? Like if you had a force, for instance, that had no vehicles in it, the game wouldn't be worth playing. Seen quite a few on the tabletop CP channel. Enjoy watching their games. If you look up Storm of Steel, he has a lot of videos on it. Okay, I've subscribed to him. You told King Charles III. I told King Charles III I couldn't go to his mommy's funeral. Instead, I had to go to the Figuratively Speaking broadcast. Excellent. Excellent. Well, you're hanging out with better people. I don't know anything about the royal. I'm not royalty, but I don't have whatever problems those jokers have. Waiting for hitting the booze early and not sharing. That's a party foul. So I think my brother's coming into town, and it should be another Bond weekend. Watch a couple films. Where do we leave off on? Oh, we got to hit Moonraker, which I've only seen the last third maybe once. I know it's stupid, but you know, it's it's more 007, man. That's what I grew up with, you know. So that involves having some scotch and and laughing at shit and pausing the movie and color commentary and stuff like that. So I think we're gonna. I don't think he's in town yet. So. Da-da-da. Yes, Mommy's funeral. Yeah. What did I say on my Facebook page the other day? I said I was like 3 days ago. I was 0 days old when I found out that there was a Prince Edward. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know there was a Prince Edward. They don't talk about him in the news. You hardly hear about whatever his sister is, Anne or whatever. We're over here in the colonies, and somebody's like, "You don't know anything about him?" I said, "I don't care about the Spanish royals. Why would I care about not even my people?" Yeah. I remember, see, a lot of those movies I would catch them they were on TV, and my parents were really strict about bedtime, so I could, they'd run into like 11:30 at night, and I couldn't watch them. So, and this would have been in the early 80s, so that's the ones that they would have shown, You got Prince Albert in the can. Yeah. I still haven't seen that Duel movie. What is it, The Duelist? I haven't seen it. I need to rent it. There's just so much stuff to watch. It's hard to get up the motivation to rent something when there's something else to watch. There's a lot of movies that are on Amazon I just came across. I was flipping a few of them while I was having dinner that I want to watch with my daughter, including Dogs of War and Wild Geese is on there. I love that mercenary Africa theme. I think that's a great theme for a movie. I think that's a great theme for a movie. Rick's putting together Legos or something, probably. Sniper Rick. He could be anywhere. He could be anywhere. My God, the stupid Liberty Mutuals. Yeah, the Liberty Mutual commercials have got to be better than I hate Geico commercials, and I hate Progressive commercials. I hate those. Like, what do you guys throw money to see who you can make the worst commercial? I don't think I'd want an insurance company. It's called Progressive to begin with. That's a dirty word. It's just a dirty word. It's a dirty word for me. Mr. Waddy! Would that figure you be painting a tank? I wish. I wish I was painting a tank. All my cool Sherman stuff came in. Should listen to Mike Hoare's audiobook. I actually know who he is. On his time in Africa. Great mercenary stories, and he reads the books himself. Cool suggestion. You hate all commercials. Just remember, the commercials on the radio are worse than they are on TV. Yeah, I don't watch anything on live TV anymore. Those days are over. Yeah, Geico commercials are the worst. I don't know what their point is. Is just to stay relevant? Because I wouldn't have their insurance just based on their commercials. But commercials, insurance commercials, lawyers, lawyer commercials, medicine. Who cares? Ask your doctor about such and such. Like, you don't even tell me what it's for. You just tell me that it causes, it could cause diarrhea or vaginal cramps or both or bloating or, it could cause stomach cancer or brain cancer or, you could cause to be pregnant even though you don't, you're not able to, you have ovaries, all those freaking disclaimer shit. Don't buy into commercials. Let's talk car repair ripoffs. Geckos be damned. Lawyers, yeah, no lawyer commercials. I get this thing that happens all the time now. I get this like every other day. I get a voicemail, and I haven't been able to block the number. I can block them from it ringing, but they still end up leaving a voicemail. Have you been injured in a car accident? Please contact so. I'm like, will you leave me alone? Why talk about lawyers when you talk about pirates? I don't like either one. Wayne doesn't count. What are we painting? We're painting Huns. I wish I was painting tanks. I really do. We just got to get through this week and we'll paint some tanks. Really want to paint some tanks. Shermans ahoy. Want some cool looking Shermans. Because let's face it, they're not the coolest looking tank. But they will be when I'm done with them. We're going to give them some personality. And they're all going to have nicknames too. You better believe it. And they're going to be appropriate nicknames. Not like, because you can have good nicknames that aren't like period appropriate. Like for instance, you could call a tank, penis wrinkle. Well, they didn't call people that back then. So you can't do that one, There's an advert on the radio over here where they try to sell headphones by playing the same song twice. One version mumbled and one not. They didn't think it through. I lost my mojo to keep going with the AWI stuff I was painting. White or brown ones? White or brown ones what? Oh, Huns. Both. Both. Yeah, both. They're these guys. These are light horse. They're non-denominational. They'll go for both. I'm not even that interested in playing these guys right now. I just got to get them done because if I don't get them done now, they're going to be done like never. So here's the difference between painting these guys and tanks. I don't want to paint these guys, but I know when I'm done with them, I'm going to really like how they look because I know what I'm doing. If I paint tanks, I really want to do that, but I'm not sure I'm going to be happy with how they turn out because I'm kind of a noob at it. Well, I'm a noob at it compared to this. I've been doing this constantly for 20 years, and I figured this shit out. The tanks, I still haven't. I got to get. It's not that I don't know how to paint them. I have this vision of how I want them to look, and it's going to take some experimentation. And we've already started one experiment because we started painting this little Kubelwagen using the German colors that I got in the mail, and it's getting there. It's going to take some time, but I don't want the vehicles to take 12 hours each. That's not the point. There's going to be people that I don't want them to look ultra realistic. It's a combination between realistic and they do need to look like game pieces. For my liking. Just like the miniatures. The miniatures are realistic looking, but they also look like game pieces. There's some cartoon type aspect to them, you know. Comic book type aspect, not cartoon. And I want the vehicles to match that look. It's going to take some experimentation, but I just need to knock these bastards out. But I do want to do some Shermans. Got 5 of them to do, 5 or 6. But you start with the crude stuff that's easy to replace. That's why I wear a necktie. Personal news. I like wearing a tie. You don't like dating, you just like the end game. Tony, is that cool wagon stuck on that base? It is for now. It is for now. It was moving. It's kind of stuck. Look, it's like stuck here. It's loose on this end, but like this tire is stuck and not stuck to the other tires. Because this is what I was going to base it before. I'm not doing these. I'm not doing them on wood anymore. I've just kept it on here because it's a good way to hold on to it. So they will be on bases the same way my Russians are, but they'll be plastic ones. And then we'll put a magnet on them and we can round off the corners. So. Is the whole house unbalanced? I swear mine is unbalanced. But then again, I do live in an incline from a mountain. Mitch's room is unbalanced. He's got like a 5-degree list in that building. So I got this guy to paint. Two others, and then we do the command stand, which is 3 figures, and we're done. If I'm not going to have a baggage, which I'm not focusing on that right now. I'm not worried about it. The hell with the baggage. Gotta get a drink. Mommy bacon brownies. Oh, I hope they're not special brownies. Hey, I'm fine if people do drugs, but man, I've seen drugs just eat up somebody's brain to where they're just handicapped. They're basically handicapped. And nobody in my family, you know. When I went to Colorado, you know, it's legal over there and just nobody wants to do anything. It's like, hey, dude, how going on? Oh, yeah, whatever. It's like, dude, man, you're shitting your pants. Yeah, whatever. It's all cool, you know. No thanks. It makes everybody turn mentally into a homeless person. It's like, no thanks. That's no way to live. But, you know, realistically thinking, yeah, people should be able to do whatever the hell they want. But I don't know what the solution to that is. I don't need to do drugs to chill out. Alcohol is just fine with me. Actually, all I got to do is work on hobbies. I'm chill. I could probably save a lot of time just if I pre-mix these colors and then come out. But I honestly like. This part's pretty relaxing. It's not fast, but bringing the flesh to life. I enjoy that. Pretty cool. Mr. Gregory, morning from Australia. Finally finished the Persians. The old mojo is still as flat as a tack, but pressing on. Looks like I am looking at another bad evening with my intestinal stuff. Last night was really bad, and now all of a sudden I got that discomfort feeling again. Is that something that's going to be like a lifelong problem? Or you on some kind of medicine to help do that? I mean, everybody has something. I mean, I got something. It's not of that degree, which reminds me, I got to take my pills so I don't turn into a leper. Everybody has something. What's the most annoying thing is if you have something that's not curable. Well, mine won't kill me, thankfully. The worst thing, of course, is the questions. Because, like for instance, if you see somebody that looks like they were in a fire, okay? Like they obviously were in a burn. You don't walk up to them and said, hey, what happened with that fire? Freaking leave them alone, man. They don't want to relive that shit. It's like somebody says, hey, what's wrong with your skin? I said, dude, I got psoriasis, whatever. Lots of people have it. Why are you asking me stuff? Last time I checked, the Germans lost the war. I don't have to answer you. Mojo, for what I've been painting, Abel's disasters on me. Yeah, I will fortunately have to deal with it for the rest of my life. Usually only bothers me once a week, maybe twice if it's a bad week, and sometimes I go a couple of weeks without it. Oh, man. I bet it's probably one of those things that exacerbated by depending on what you eat, I would imagine. Best thing I can do for my condition is stay on a cruise ship. Hard to make a living there, though. And psoriasis on your scalp. Just about everybody does. That's actually the one place I don't have it. I just have a little bit here, and then like around my ankles. And that's about it. It's honestly not that bad. And the best thing I could do is just hang out at the beach a lot, which I haven't been to recently. My dad had it really bad on his arms for years, but it cleared up. Yeah, I got it right before I was going to join the service, and it kept me out. And it's probably a good thing, honestly. I don't do well with digging a hole in the same place and shit like that. You know, busy work. I don't enjoy homework. I don't enjoy doing stuff just because, so that was probably a good thing. At the time, I didn't like it because I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? But I'd rather have this than, like I said, the worst thing is, hey, what you got there? I'm allergic to dickheads, and all of a sudden I'm itching, you know. Everybody has something. The only thing that I'm allergic to is penicillin, and one time I got it. I had penicillin when I had my psoriasis that already popped up, and I turned into a leper. I got it in places where I didn't feel bad. I just ended up getting patches in places that never had it. It was like whoa, we can't have that. You know, it's not like I had trouble breathing or anything. It was just did not do well with that. So we just don't have penicillin, you know? What branch was I going into? I had a buddy of mine in high school who was going in the Navy. I'm like, I'll go in the Navy. I mean, I'm a good swimmer. And this was before, this was right after the first Gulf War would have been. I bet they take people for that now, you know. Neighbor recently saw my miniatures collection. He asked me how long I had been a geek. Oh, he's a geek about something too. You just don't know what it is. He's probably a sports nerd. Probably a sports nerd. People that don't know shit about anything other than how long somebody was how long somebody was running around with a pumpkin under their arm. I say you just burn your neighbor's house down. Hey, you're a lawyer, you can get out of it. Lots of people have it. There's a guy that goes to the gym. He's got something. I don't know what it is, but it's really bad. I kind of feel for him, but I don't stare at him. I certainly don't ask questions. I mean, fucker has to live with that shit his whole life. He doesn't need to be reminded of it, you know. His wife gives great relaxation therapy. You should tell him that. You should tell him that. Your neighbor said, "Hey, how long have you been a geek?" And you tell him, "Well, longer than your wife's been satisfying me." Oh, Heidi ho, neighbor. You should try it sometime. What? What are you talking about? Let's hope that's a pretend story. But you know, some stuff goes on that I'm oblivious to. I live in another world, and it's a better world there. This color will work for his stick. Does she know? I'm going on an 8-day cruise. Excellent. Cruises are awesome. 8-day cruise next month from Sydney up to the Barrier Reef and Whitsundays. I don't know where the hell that is. I'm not familiar with that part of geography. So you're going south to north up the east coast of Australia. She's Asian, lifelong Mr. Rogers neighborhood member. Ah, Mrs. McFeely. Remember the male guy on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Mr. McFeely. Perfect name for a child molester. Just saying. Mr. McFeely. I would love to go to the Barrier Reef. Quite fond of reefs and sea creatures. Yeah, sea creatures are awesome. She's Asian, you say, right up my wheelhouse. The Asian persuasion. Right up your wheelhouse, and bend over. What for? Got something that's coming up your wheelhouse. What? I didn't mean it like that. Heard that they fish with dental work. Oh boy. Speaking of Asians, I've seen something really interesting that I had never seen before, at least in this part of the country. You would never see Asians driving a vehicle that wasn't an Asian vehicle. And I've seen Asians in Fords before. That just never happened. That just never happened. Yeah, I saw it again several times. Not that we have a ton of Asians here, but I'm just saying, you'd never see them. It wasn't in an Asian vehicle. I mean, you won't catch me in a non-Asian vehicle. Got Bloody Mary mix. What to put in it? Vodka. That's what a Bloody Mary has. That's what I would have for breakfast on a cruise ship. 2 or 3 Bloody Marys. Spicy. I love tomato juice. Good stuff. I never have it because it's really expensive. I just don't think to have it. You can have as much as you want on a cruise. I actually lose weight when I go on a cruise. It may only be a pound, but I still lose weight. Do a lot of walking. Really don't have much of a buzz. You could drink all the time. What's the hurry to drink? Oh, I'm not going to answer that question. No, that's one of those groups I don't talk about. I don't talk about those groups of people. They've suffered enough. Not going to go there. It's going to be taken the wrong way. I mean, I'm not going to be offended by the joke, but I'm not going to say it. There's a quote from a fellow modeler on another forum. I know that I live in my own little world, but they like me there. Yeah. Yeah, I don't pay attention to the news or anything. Like I said yesterday, a couple days ago, I didn't even know there was a Prince Andrew. News to me. I'm sorry, Edward. Edward. I didn't know there was a Prince Edward. I don't watch the news. And they don't tell us that over here in this part of the world. I honestly don't know why people put up with that. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be in the meritocracy? Like to jump overboard and race the ship. Oh, better be a slow ship. You can't jump overboard and race a ship unless you're Cuban and have any chance of winning. I love salt water. Salt water is another thing that's really good for your skin. When I was a kid, I never could understand why somebody would like, there'd be a shipwreck and they would die of thirst. Like, why? You're surrounded by water. You're a kid. You don't freaking know that. You can't drink, seawater. Well, you can, but you're not very well. Things that don't make any sense when you're a kid. The other thing that didn't make sense when you were a kid, you go to the grocery store as a kid, right? And there'd be on these aisles, there'd be this box of like rock salt, and there'd be like ice cream on it, like for making ice cream. And I'm like, why would you use rock salt to make ice cream when ice cream isn't salty? Things you don't know when you're a kid. I'm talking like, you're 8 years old or 7 years old. Shit doesn't make any sense. What does salt have to do with ice cream? Last time I was in the ocean, I was out pretty far boogie boarding and I got blindsided by a giant wave. It could happen any time, yeah. Taken all the way to the ocean floor and was drug up to the shore. That sucked, yeah. Yeah, those rogue waves can come in and, they don't have to be that much bigger than the rest of them to really throw you off. And the thing is you get, like, if you see it coming, you can at least react to it or do something. But if you're looking this way and it's coming the other way, yeah. We were on vacation one time when I was younger. I was a teen. I was in my early teens. And we were at a beach. And my dad got hit by a rogue wave, obviously not 10 foot tall or something, but enough that it knocked his glasses out and he lost his glasses. And we're out in another country. And he was particularly nearsighted. So I ended up spending the rest of the vacation having him borrow my glasses. So that sucked. But obviously it could be worse, but Nordic, learn to swim first. Usually when you go far out, the waves are better. It's when you get close to shore that it just can do a number on you. And that's without even any rocks. You're watching some whales jumping not too far away, and the wave came in on my blind side. Was it the waves from the whales? I saw there was something on a feed where some boat ran into a whale or something, and like several people got killed. I didn't look at the details other than that. It was almost like one of those that was shown on like the Weather Channel or some shit like that, where it would give you like a news article, but it's like one you can't even click on. Like, I hate going to the Weather Channel for that. It's just constant. It's like worse than any TV station, just bombarding you with, hey, you could save this on your mortgage and all this stuff that's moving around that's nothing related to the freaking weather whatsoever, Prescription goggles. Now, they were opposite the side the wave came from. Huh. Yeah. Prescription goggles. Yeah, that was, what would it have been? 1984, 1985? Something like that when that happened. I think 1985. Back when you couldn't pick your gender. You were stuck with what it was at what you were born with. And if you didn't like it, they gave you an atomic wedgie. And the world was a better place. And you couldn't wear 2 socks of 2 different colors. Whales have excellent archers. But they only have 1 shoe. One's barefoot. Oh wait, that's the spearmen, not the archers. Somebody wanted me to fill out a, I want to say it was the war game. What's the thing that they call you fill out every year, like a war game survey, the Great War Game Survey or something like that. Fill it out. I'm like, all right, this might be interesting to fill out. First question, what gender are you? This, or this other one, or this? I stopped right there. I'm like, I'm not turning it in. F this. Am I taking a break from DBA? I'm painting. You mean like games? Yes. Not intentionally, but yes. I'm no longer playing DBA in 80-something degree weather. It's just too freaking hot to film. So I'm taking a break from going over you know where, because it's just too damn hot there. And taking a break from those videos. I mean, I guess we could film somewhere else, but we used to film here. We used to play here. On the floor, removing ingrown toenails with an X-Acto knife. Ah, sexy. Saw that you're working on 72nd, 76 scale vehicles. Well, that's what I was doing 20 years ago. We're going to add more of that in. There's going to be more of that and less DBA armies. If that makes any sense. So, I got my World War II bug going now. I hadn't messed with them in 20 years. I got tons of them. So, don't know if I'm going to play World War II stuff. I'm going to build them with the intention for them being for that. But I'm getting burned out running around in circles looking for shit. Looking for rules and stuff. So, last time we played DBA, it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. It left a bad taste in my mouth that you got people that are using shit, they don't know how to use it, and I got to figure out how to freaking, what the rules are for it again, after a hard day of work, in 80-something degree weather, sweating, and it's late, and I've been up for like 12 fucking hours. Yeah, I'm a little bitter about it. And it's annoying that we've played this game. I mean, I've played over 2,000 times, and we still have muddling around looking for shit, so, yeah. I don't hold it in as high regard as I used to. Let's put it that way. But the reason I'm not doing videos is totally weather related. I don't want to play a game and not do a video because all kinds of cool shit happens that I hate to keep to myself. You know. Yeah, it should do something with World War II as well. Yeah. Well, so I had like these 30 vehicles. that have all been like either not finished or whatever, because that's what would happen. I'd work on models and I would encounter some problem. I could build a half track, and in putting the damn rubber things, the sprocket wheel would fall off, and then I had to glue it, and then it wasn't strong enough. Well, now I got different skills. I'm like, screw you. We'll drill a pin through it, epoxy in, you ain't moving now, and then move it. And I fixed like 30 vehicles. I mean, the last couple weekends I've done like 15, 20 vehicles, and it's really empowering to go and do like separate link track and kick its ass, and I like that. It's stuff I've had for 2 decades, you know, and it's not the best stuff out there. Like if somebody goes, man, what are you doing with those old kits? Well, those were the new kits when I was doing them, you know. So people were playing with stuff they didn't know to use and just expect someone else to look it up. Yeah, I'm tired of being other people's crutch. So, but mainly it's the temperature, you know. And I've put up with it for 7, 8 years. I'm done putting it up. Like if somebody said the only time you can play is play in those conditions, I'm not playing again. I'm not playing face to face with people. It's not worth it. The first thing I want to do after a late day at work is I want to shower. I want to come home, change clothes. I want to be human again. And going over there involves change your clothes, but continue to be dirty. And I've been uncomfortable all day long, you know? Dieter has sprockets. Fraser has Spokane. Man, you guys are tripping out. So that, and I was really, I'm kind of bummed out about the DBA community. We kept putting on games, and either people don't want to show up, or they're too busy, or I get it. People don't have to, you know, play the stuff that you have, but I also don't need to go through this much effort for little return. So I'm not going to put on DBA. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm not going to play DBA at Historicon ever again. I don't care if it becomes popular. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not saying I'm not going to go to Historicon. I'm not going to go through all that effort of putting games to have 3 people show up. And don't get me wrong, we had a great time, but I felt like I was stuck there and I couldn't explore because I had to be back at 2 just for nobody, you know. So you have a few old Airfix kits, Sherman 25-pounder field gun, Brent Carrier, Churchill. Churchill's one of the ones I'm not going to be able to bring back because I'm missing his tracks, and it's 76 scale anyways, which I don't mind mixing the 2. I have some that are 76 and some that are 72nd, and I'm okay with it. They're gaming pieces, you know. It's just not salvageable. So one of the things that happened is some of the pieces are missing on these things because they weren't finished, and some of them aren't in the box because I did like 3 moves since then, and or 2 moves, and things have fallen, you know, in a rush of packing them or whatever. So I've found things that I thought I didn't have them all throughout, and you know, I don't want to throw these things away. I want to bring them back to life, and so that part's kind of cool. I've enjoyed doing that. Let me check on one thing here. probably going to need to go in about 15 minutes, I'm thinking. See if we can get a movie in. But I appreciate you guys saying, what kind of a freaking helmet does this dumbass have on? I'm going to assume it's not made of metal. I'm going to assume it's not made of metal. We're going to make it like it's painted out of leather. Made out of leather. Good morning. A return to the Huns, unfortunately. Unfortunately. I want to paint tanks, damn it. And I got used to with the pandemic. I got used to working on what I wanted to work on. No time frame. And now it's like, I got to get these done in a week. And I'm like, I don't want to work on them. It's not like I don't want to be creative. I want to be creative. I just want to do what I want to do. I want to do what I want to do. Now you want to watch Frasier. Never got into it. Oh, here we go. All right. Good morning, Greg. How is life in New England? New England. 23 degrees centigrade. What the hell is that? I don't know. What is it, like 75? Bright and sunny, mid-north coast. I'm ready for winter. First person that complains about being cold in Florida, I'm going to behead. I'll hire somebody to behead him. Some guy named Ali or something like that. I'm so tired of this freaking heat. I thought you were supposed to get like, when you get older, you're supposed to be cold all the time. Well, I guess I'm not older. I guess I'm not older. Oh, so I got this color, so I'm going to use that one. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, when we're done with these damn guys, we're going to probably take a break from 15s for a while. And I say that, but watch it not happen. But I want to paint a few tanks. It's not like I don't have enough. And that was the whole point in getting them built. So when it's time to paint, I can paint. $18.3, that's more like it. I think I'd like 10 degrees centigrade a little bit better. Talibaners will do the job for $19.95. Yeah, I can see people complain about it being cold. It doesn't get cold in Florida. And when it gets nice, it's absolutely gorgeous outside. There's not a single cloud in the sky. It's like you want to be outside all the day long. I don't understand what the complaint is. You don't have to run the air conditioning. Free, you don't have to spend money for that. What's not to like it, about it? You don't have to shovel anything. I could see not liking the cold if it's like, oh, you got to come home and shovel your driveway. Yeah, that'd get old really quick. Well, I was warned we're going to be invaded by children in about 15 minutes, which is about fine because I don't need to be. I think it was going to be 15 minutes. We're going to sign off anyways because we need to go do the second part of our evening, which involves scotch and a movie. Yeah, this is more. I figure this guy can't afford a metal helmet. What about dead oranges? They're further south. Ice with a whiskey, of course. It's Florida. Actually, it's going to be whiskey without the E. You once watched Rob Roy while sober. I've never seen it. Does that mean you've watched it multiple times where you weren't sober? If I go and have like 2 beers, I'll feel like shit tomorrow morning. I could drink like 4 whiskeys and be fine in the morning. Something in beer just does not do well with me. You once baked a pie without being baked. Don't jump in the oven. Greg, very close, lived in the Manning Valley. Can get to Forster in about 30 minutes normally. Shop for hobby supplies in Newcastle. Ah, the days of hobby shops. It's called the 1980s. Okay, this guy's got some kind of hair on his horse hair or something on the top of him. We'll punt for that one. How's this guy look compared to these other ones? No, he'll look good by the time of the day. That's the thing about doing 15s. I'll be happy along. Be happy with how all these guys turn out. The vehicles and the 20s, the 20 millimeter figures, they'll turn out fine. Well, I don't need to paint any figures for a while. I just need to get some vehicles for them just to do them. Frontline Hobbies, one in the area. That the Frontline Hobbies that had an internet presence that made like 20mm vehicles or something like that? I said earlier, I picked this up. This came in the mail. The Quest for Dunkelgelb. And we're going to tinker with it. I wish they actually looked like this, but they don't. They look weird. I like how these turned out. So we're going to try our hand at the experiment on the Kubelwaage. I'm not giving up on it yet. The problem is the second shade they recommend you using is this. Here's like the base color shade, and here's the second shade. That's not even the lightest one. It's like pretty extreme. This is like a refrigerator from 1972. So, different company. So, I used to work at a hobby shop, and people would, back in the early 90s, people would mail order shit just to save 10%. What a dickhead. You know, I wouldn't wait for 10%. Now I just mail order stuff because you can't get it in a store. You can't ask anybody in a store or anything, or they're too busy with their freaking surfing on their phone to answer any questions. When did we stop firing people for people not doing their job? That's what it is. When you go back to that, you don't do your job, you get fired. When did that stop? Good old-fashioned hobby shop. Yeah. No, it's supposed to be for both. And I'm not getting an airbrush. Screw that crap. Colors for airbrush and brush. Here it says. They're pretty thin, but that's not really the problem. It's the kind of the color choice. But, you know, this is almost like a khaki brown, not this weird yellow color. But I'm not giving up. That's why we're trying to do things. We're going to test to do them with small things that are easily repairable or fixable if I don't like them. Here's the other candidate. This piece of shit. Okay, this is a garbage. You know, this is, I made my own color. Let me pull out my Panther. I'll tell you what I think Dunkelgelb ought to look like. I'll give you a piece of my mind. This is a Hasegawa. Actually, there's several examples here. This is a Dragon pre-built Ferdinand. Not an elephant, a Ferdinand, because it's got no hull machine gun. And here's the Matchbox. That's how it came. This is a Matchbox Panzer 4H. And here's the Hasegawa Panther that I did. And of course, the Hasegawa Panther I just need to fix up with. Put it on a different base, so it doesn't look like it's on the frickin' fourth green. Stupid 1990s basing. Does the shader primer make a difference? I don't think so. I covered the whole thing up. You're going to use the red brown as a primer because that was the primer of German tanks. I ain't doing that shit. That's nonsense. I know what you're talking about. I ain't going there. And we're going to doctor this thing up because this thing basically has no weathering on it. But we'll just pull this thing off of this. And I can't wait to try your idea with the Q-tips. I'm looking forward to doing that. But anyhow, I think this is about the right shade, honestly. But I can make it. I just would like to not, if I'm going to do multiple steps, have it already pre-made, because I got a lot of them to do. So, anyhow, we need to doctor this thing up. I probably did this around 1995, probably. So, Anywho, I got lots of Panthers. Got lots of Shermans too. None of them done. Here's an old MMS. Let me get these out of the way so you can see them a little. This is an old MMS resin model of a martyr. It needs to be fixed up. It's way too dark. It's way too dark for my liking. So, you know, you don't test the yellow and get it right on something like this. You test it on something that's replaceable and looks like a piece of shit to begin with. So if you don't like how it turns out, you didn't screw up something that's nice. So we got lots of things that are less than illustrious to try them on. And I got some stuff that's just dogs. Like, here's a company called Lizard's Grin. And I want to say they're tied in with Houston Ships. Up, it even says Houston Ships on here. Here, this is an all lead truck. I think they came 2 in a pack, and they were just a POS, just complete POS. But we'll test some stuff, painting them in gray. This is something I did many years ago. Even added some boxes. This is a box from something. I'd add something to the side to make it look better. Q-tip track sag is a time-tested method. Can't wait to try it, man. Gonna crawl to bed with your bloody toes. Hopefully you don't have white sheets. It'll be that time of the month. Anyhow, these things are dogs, you know? Need to be fixed up. Here's another one. It's a piece of shit. This is a Raffam company, a Panzer 38. Piece of shit, point of sale, yeah. Point of sale. Here's another one, it's a dog. Here's an Archer. Probably put some crew members in there. I want to run one of these in Armored Commander. You know, a Valentine with a rear-mounted 17-pounder. If it doesn't have a machine gun, I can't run it. You need to have a machine gun to be able to take out some infantry. Even if it's just one. Look at this doozy. A Sherman Crab from one of my least favorite 20mm companies of all time. Britannia. Britannia, they have this annoyingly looking figures that have a huge head and everybody looks the same. But their vehicles are okay. It's a mix of white metal and resin. Sherman Crab. Never painted it. Actually, all the moves and not a single one of these the flails fell off. Q-tip tag, that's where you put epoxy on top of the tracks and you push a Q-tip down and push it up against the tracks. I can't wait to try it. We got all kinds of shit. The nicest one I got easily is this thing right here. Another company that's out of business, unfortunately. Cromwell models. These things are gorgeous. Broken barrel from all the moves. We'll be able to fix it, but this thing is freaking gorgeous. Perfect Zimmerit on it. Yeah, we do this one last. I mean, they even have, look at all this gentle detailing they have on all the thin metal that would get banged up. I'm not a big fan of Zimmerit, though. The first thing we do with the Zimmerit, this dog. This Stug 4. Yeah, nice looking Tiger 1. They don't get better looking than that. Those models are gorgeous. And it's the only one I have. Stug 4. So it's got Zimmer on it as well, but this is a more crude model. But you know, this is I spray painted it black. I missed lots of stuff. So the first thing is let's get black in all those spots with the Vallejo primer, and then we'll go to town on it. So I got some high hopes. We'll see some cool stuff from me, hopefully in the next couple of months. Something different I haven't seen. We can talk World War II jargon, which I've had a lack of in the last 20 years. So me likey, yeah. I gotta do it justice though, so we gotta save that for last. You know, I didn't know there was a thing about Panzer Gray having a little bit of blue in it, so I think I solved it. I found, of course you can't really tell here because I weathered this so much, but this is a RAF from Panzer 2F. And I just took Panzer Gray and then I dry brushed it with, after I was done, I dry brushed it with this Luftwaffe uniform, which is slightly blue, and I think it looks great. It's just slightly blue. Anyhow, I have a lot of vehicles, but I have a lot of one of these, 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 which is okay because you don't really need many vehicles for this type of game. It's like, you know, a couple half tracks and one light tank is enough, you know. Do I have a viable Hun army for the convention? I need to finish painting this guy, 2 more light horse, and then a command stand of 3. So as long as I stay motivated, like tonight, I should be able to get them done. But I don't even want to play them. I don't mind finishing them. I don't even want to play them. I may just play a different army. I'm not in a hurry to give them a bloody nose. You think you may think France 1940 on a scale other than 6 mil. I hate those German tanks without baskets. Here's the one right now. Panzer IIIe looks stupid without the basket in the back. Looks like a bald baby or some shit. Just doesn't look right. Oh well. This is an MMS kit. Another company that's out of business. I walk away for 20 years and they stop making stuff out of business. So I'll still have a great time. They're actually not even excited about going to the convention. I just felt like we just got back from Historicon. It just like showed up too soon. I mean, I'll have a great time. I'll love hanging out with the people, having a couple beers, but gaming, whatever. I got some SS guys for France that are specifically for France, and because they have, they're the combat miniatures guys. They have Czech weapons. So their machine gun is an MG34. It's a Czech, whatever it's called, ZB39, whatever the hell it is. So, sounds frustrating. No. I don't want to paint on a schedule. I want to paint when I get things done, and, you know. Probably shouldn't have done the elephant when I did. Just tired of painting these guys that I gotta make them look boring. I mean, they'll look great. I'll be totally happy with how they turn out, but they'll get done. I'm sure I'll get them done. It sounds like it's not a lot of time, but I performed a freaking miracle with the Byzantines, so this only takes about a third of a miracle to get them done. And the command stand will be fun. So, but anyhow, I've got to go, and we'll be back on in a few hours at by 6 a.m. and we'll get some more Hun painting, and of course we can talk about other stuff. But anyhow, thanks for stopping by, folks, and we'll catch